All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into something really important. It's a playbook for anyone who's ever found themselves in a high-stakes situation, with lawyers, therapists, evaluators. It's all about making sure the story they're hearing about you is the actual story. So let's jump right in. You know that feeling, right, where you feel like the story is being written for you without you even in the room? It's super frustrating. You're trying to do everything right, be reasonable, but you just get this sinking feeling that a narrative is already locked in, a narrative that's just wrong. Well, that feeling, it actually has a name, and knowing what it's called is the first step to fighting back. Okay, so what is this invisible force that can just completely hijack what's supposed to be a neutral process? We're going to break down exactly what professional capture is, and maybe even more important, we'll look at the psychology that makes it so darn effective. And this is the key thing to get right off the bat. This isn't usually about some professional who's out to get you or is, corrupt. Professional capture is a process failure. It's what happens when a neutral person who's probably overworked and under a ton of pressure just gets fed a steady diet of one-sided information. Their perspective just naturally starts to tilt. It's a bug in the system, not necessarily in the person.
So, how does this actually work in our brains? Well, it's a perfect storm of cognitive biases. First, you've got anchoring. Basically, the first story someone hears becomes the anchor, the reference point for everything else. Then, confirmation bias kicks in. The professional starts looking for things that confirm that first story, not challenge it. And here's the kicker. Availability bias. If someone throws in a dramatic, even if it's kind of thin, claim about safety, our brains go into better safe than sorry mode. And once that happens, man, it is so hard to steer the ship back.
Okay, so we know what it is and why it works. Now, let's get tactical. Let's look at the actual playbook. These are the specific moves people use, sometimes on purpose, sometimes not, to make capture happen. You can't defend against a play if you don't know it's coming, right?
All right, first up, this screenshot snipe. Oh, this is a classic move. You've probably seen it. Someone takes one single text message you sent, rips it completely out of context, they leave out the 10 messages before it, what happened next, all of it, and they hold it up like it's this smoking gun. See? Look how unstable they are. It looks like hard evidence, but it's really just digital smoke and mirrors. Next, we've got the chorus effect. This one is sneaky. So one story gets told to a therapist. That therapist mentions it to an evaluator. Then a teacher sends an email that seems to back it up, but only because they were prompted by the same person who started the whole thing. All of a sudden, one person's opinion sounds like a chorus of independent experts. It's not consensus, it's just an echo chamber, plain and simple.
All right, enough doom and gloom. We've talked about the problem, now let's talk about the solution, because there is one. The key is, you can't fight fire with fire here. This is not about getting emotional. It's about a total mindset shift. It's about strategy.
And this is the absolute heart of it. The second you feel that capture happening, your gut reaction is to lash out, right? To argue, to get defensive, to just vent your frustration. And that is a total trap. The real countermove is to be strategic, to be methodical. And it's all built on this framework called the 7 laws of credibility.
And law number 1 is literally the most important one. It's the foundation for everything. Regulated wins. Just let that sink in. In these high-stakes situations, the professionals are always watching to see how stable you are. Being calm, being brief, and being consistent. That builds trust way faster than winning any single argument. We're talking short sentences, no drama, just focused on what's next. That right there, that's your shield. Okay, let's jump ahead to law number 4 because this is your biggest weapon for fairness. Symmetry is your shield. Think about it. Capture loves to hide in the shadows. It lives on those private phone calls and one-sided email chains. The way you fight that is by bringing everything into the light. You just politely but firmly insist that, hey, let's document everything and make sure we all get the same information. You're not demanding anything crazy, you're just asking for sunlight. And the other laws just build on this whole strategic idea. You gotta write like a scientist. Date, event, outcome, exhibit. Boom. You need to curate your evidence. Seriously, a 7-page summary with an index is 1,000 times better than dropping a 200-page binder on someone's desk. And this is huge. Always end with a fix. Don't just show up with a list of problems. Show up as the person with the solutions. So, okay, we've got the mindset down. Now let's build the actual toolkit.
These are the practical nuts and bolts things you can start doing, like today, to protect yourself and make sure the process stays fair. Check this out. This is called the 3-tier packet system, and honestly, it's genius. So Tier A is just a simple one-page, here's what this is all about orientation. Super easy to digest. Tier B goes a little deeper into the key issues, but it's all facts first, really clean. And then Tier C, that's the whole shebang, the full evidence appendix, but you only give it to them if they ask for it. See what you're doing? You're giving them an easy on-ramp. You're making it simple for them to do their job right and stay neutral. You know, a huge piece of this whole strategy is about being proactive. You don't want to wait until you're already caught in the trap and then have to fight your way out. You want to set the ground rules for a fair process right from the get-go. And the way you do that is with a few simple but really powerful integrity questions. And this first question is so important because ambiguity is where capture lives and breathes. You need to know, is this person acting as a therapist for my kid, or are they an evaluator for the court? Because those are two wildly different jobs with totally different ethical rules. Just asking them to clarify their role isn't you being difficult. It's you asking for basic professionalism. And there it is again, that idea of symmetry. By asking this one question, you're politely setting an expectation. You're saying, hey, transparency is the standard here. It reframes fairness from something you want to something the process needs. Honestly, this might be the single most powerful sentence you can use. Okay, but what if it's already happened? What if you're already dealing with a skewed story or one of those screenshot snipes has been used against you? Is it too late? Nope. This last section is your emergency script. It's exactly how you can correct the record without blowing things up. This is called the context repair ladder, and it's just a masterclass in staying calm and credible. Look at the steps. First, you acknowledge their concern. You say, yeah, I can see why that looks bad. That immediately shows you're reasonable. Then you just state the facts, offer to provide the full context, anchor it to what actually happened in the end. And then you close with a solution. You've literally just taken a trap they set for you and turned it into a showcase for how stable and reasonable you are. It's brilliant. And really, this is the whole thing in a nutshell. The emotional reactive move is to just scream, that's a lie. And what does that do? It just makes you look out of control. But the strategic response, it's calm, it's factual, it's powerful. That's incomplete. Here is the full record in what actually happened. See the difference? One is just picking a fight. The other is an undeniable correction of the record.
So, let's leave you with this to think about. Stop trying to win the argument. How can you start winning the process? What's just one simple protocol you could propose, maybe even today, that would make everything just a little more fair and transparent? Because at the end of the day, real power isn't about shouting down a bad story. It's about building a process so fair that only the truth can survive.